to do its job to maximum efficiency. Following splashdown, which again is scheduled at 7:07:07 p.m. Central Time. That's 7:07 and 7 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time, 2.5 hours before sunset at the splashdown site. Following splashdown, we will get a call from the crew. The communications will transition to what you'll hear called VLDR. That's the acronym for Very Low Data Rate, because we no longer have the antennas pointing toward the Tracking and Data Relay satellite system at that point. Now, whether the vehicle is upright in the so-called Stable 1 configuration, or whether it's upside down in Stable 2, we will quickly activate the CMOOS system, the acronym for the Crew Module Uprighting System. The Crew Module Uprighting System consists of 5 large balloon-like airbags located under the capsule's forward bay cover. These airbags will be inflated with helium, providing additional buoyancy to flip the capsule upright if it's in Stable 2, or to maintain it in a Stable 1 configuration. Navy helicopters, Navy paradivers, a Navy flight surgeon, and a NASA flight surgeon will all be on the scene and will be erecting a large raft called a front porch alongside the spacecraft. That is similar to what you've seen in the movies and in the past in historic footage from the Apollo missions. That will be utilized once the hatch is open to allow the crew members to be extracted one by one onto that front porch before they're hoisted onto a pair of hovering Navy helicopters in sequential fashion and alternating fashion as well, for the short ride back to the deck of the recovery ship, the USS John Murtha. Now, before we get into all that, it will take about 15 minutes to power down the vehicle, and for flight controllers here in Houston and the Navy recovery team to ascertain that there are no toxic gases that are leaking from Integrity. We do not expect that to happen, but they'll put eyeballs on it to match the data that we will see here at Mission Control to ensure that the recovery team can make a safe approach to the spacecraft to begin the process of erecting the front porch. The current order of extraction from the vehicle that we received from the ship called for Christina Cook to be extracted first, followed by Victor Glover, then Jeremy Hansen, and then Reed Wiseman last. The hoisting of the crew members to these 2 helos, Christina Cook is scheduled to be hoisted first into helicopter number 1, or the helicopter A as it is being termed by the recovery team. Jeremy Hansen would be second to be hoisted. He'll go into helo number 2. Victor Glover will be hoisted third and will go into helo 1 to join Cook. And Reed Wiseman will be hoisted into helo 2 to join Jeremy Hansen for the ride back to the ship. The recovery position would put the ship about 2,000 yards away from the spacecraft, assuming an on-target splashdown. The small boats will be much closer so that they can be deployed in rapid fire succession to arrive at the side of Integrity to ensure that they begin the orderly process of erecting the front porch and beginning the process of opening the hatch. The John P. Murtha, the recovery ship, is expected to be about 5 miles away from the spacecraft at the time of splashdown. That will expedite the helo flight for the 2 helicopters back to the deck of the ship. Once on the ship, the crew will emerge from the helos, and they'll be brought into the medical bay on the ship for comprehensive medical exams. that will set the stage for them to be flown off the ship at a subsequent hour. We just don't know exactly what that hour will be at this point. It will depend on the condition of the crew and other factors. But once they depart the ship, they'll be flown by helicopter to the San Diego Naval Air Station to board a NASA plane to fly back to the Johnson Space Center in Houston. So that's your snapshot rundown of the activities that lie ahead. The next major activity just over 2 hours from now, that will be the RTC-3 burn, the return trajectory correction burn number 3, the final in the series of fine-tuning maneuvers to pinpoint Integrity's precise path down the middle of the corridor for entry into the Earth's atmosphere. This is Mission Control Houston. This computer-generated visualization based on real-time telemetry from Integrity showing the distance from Earth decreasing with each passing second, now just 54,000 miles from Earth, and the distance traveled by Integrity's astronauts since they arrived at the moon earlier this week. We are currently 7 hours, 10 minutes away from splashdown, a high-speed entry back into the Earth's atmosphere, awaiting Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen to wrap up a mission that will have logged from launch to splashdown 694,481 miles. That, of course, includes that high Earth orbit that carried Integrity to an altitude at apogee of about 43,000 miles above the Earth for the first 24 hours of the mission to enable flight controllers to ring out all of the systems on Integrity and collect data that gave them the confidence to give approval for the translunar injection burn that sent the crew on its way to the moon and an historic flyby of the lunar surface.